Hello everybody, welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us for Dearly Departed Round 20. The games keep coming thick and fast. I'm just going to keep reacting, else we're going to get caught up. Caught in the shuffle, I think is the term. But as ever, we're here talking Dearly Departed, the teams I covered in the Championship. Leeds, Villa, Norwich, Watford, Brentford, and Norwich and Watford have both been in action, and you can tell by my slightly resigned tone of voice, they've both lost, and they've conceded 7 goals between the two of them. Not so good. Norwich, similar story to the other day, 5-0 against Arsenal, another 3 conceded, another 0 scored, and yes, the slightly depressing tone around Norwich continues. A few extra players missing as well today. Did not help. Watford returning, but their run is not good. A big picture despite a few postponements recently, and they went under 4-1 to West Ham. We're going to get into that imminently. Let's just say a big thank you to Simon. He's got a nice smile on his face there at least. Simon is our fan sponsor for our Daily Departure shows. Got involved over at patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. You can do the same. Simon says, Brentford fan, finally the bus stop in Hounslow in the Premier League. Thanks, Dad, for taking me in '96 when football was not such a priority is now. Thank you as ever to Simon. This will always be free here, these shows here on YouTube. But if you want to help out and support, you can do over on Patreon. Patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. So here is how the day looks. As I say, it's 5:30. So we haven't got into what we hoped would have been a really juicy, dearly departed game there. Leeds versus Villa. That got postponed. Obviously, Leicester and Liverpool later, and then we deal with Brentford and Manchester City tomorrow. So Arsenal Wolves will also postpone, which means only 3 games alongside our 2. The other one was Southampton 1, Spurs 1, and you can see up there Palace 3, Norwich 0, Watford 1, West Ham 4, which we will deal with first. So Watford back in action today, and I think that's like 9 defeats in 11 games, or under Don Claudio, 8 defeats in 10 games, and the current run is 5 straight defeats after that glorious 4-1 win over Manchester United. I'm sure Watford fans would have swapped that for a couple of just workaday 1-0s in the meantime to bump that total up. They haven't played Watford since the 10th of December when they led against Brentford. And yeah, obviously not many games ticked off, but still the run continues now. And just defensively as well, very, very poor. And today, 4 shipped against West Ham. Don't know how different it would have been. Games against Burnley, Palace and Wolves are the ones that have been cancelled. But under they went to David Moyes and West Ham, who had a little slip recently. But no luck for the Hornets today. Backman in goal. Messina, Firmino, Cathcart, Sierralta, who we haven't had around for a while. The Chilean comes back into the team today, and it doesn't necessarily cover himself in glory, but then again, Watford defenders haven't. In the main, have them. Just having a look. Last appearance for Sierralta on the bench in the game against Arsenal back at the start of November. But they've not really been able to get him on the pitch too much. Only 4 starts this season for Sierralta, who was it was Ekong and Sierralta who got them out of the Championship. We do think Claudio Ranieri may be adding to the defence in January. Kuchka, Sissoko, Tufan, Hernandez, King wide, Dennis up top. So it's not far off a strong Watford team there. We've kind of suggested when Watford do function well, those 3 experienced guys in midfield can, block out things mainly in the defensive sense. And then King, Hernandez, Dennis particularly, and he's going to get on the score sheet today, has been a handful. So I don't know what you read into that in terms of it being close to the strongest team, and still we're not feeling that much sense of competition here. But Dennis is going to give them the lead. 8th goal of the season. 13 goal contributions in 15 starts for Dennis, who, of course, is eligible to go off and play in the AFCON for Nigeria. So, slightly worrying. We know Ismaila Sarr is going to be going as well, despite his lack of fitness recently. Anyway, the West Ham team there, Fabianski, Soufal, Dawson, Diop and Johnson. Should be mentioned, Dawson, their former Watford player. West Ham missing Ogbonna and Zuma, their first choice centre-halves. But they've got Souček in midfield. No Rice, Noble's going to come in. He's going to score as well. Bowen, Lanzini, Benrahma and Antonio. We also already mentioned Emmanuel Dennis, and gives them the perfect start here, really. Dennis takes the pass from King, and it's a brilliant finish. You can see there on the left foot that is going right into the top corner to Fabianski's left on only 4 minutes. And look, they need more players like Dennis at the moment. Watford, obviously, they're probably losing him in January. How long we'll find out. But he's certainly one who can stand up and be counted. You just don't want him to turn into... Remember, Fabrizio Ravanelli scored, I think, 20, 25 goals for... I'm not saying Dennis is going to get 20, 25 goals, but doesn't want to be the star man in a team that gets relegated. But at the moment, I guess he can hold his head high. And Watford were leading until minute 27 in this one. But quick, bang, bang. 2 goals from West Ham in minutes 27 and 29. And all of a sudden, that Watford defence that we've been worried about has let them down again. And yeah, this is poor, isn't it? Look, there's Bowen. You can see number 20. Sissoko is 19 for Watford. And you're just looking. Souček is not, he's hardly a number 10 or Frank Lampard or someone constantly making runs and a nightmare to pick up. He is more he's a deep lying midfielder. I understand, yes, he's a tall player who does get into the box and score, but got to track this run, haven't they? And Bowen, it's a simple pass and Souček is into the box, drills it in low to backman's left-hand side. But I'm sure we'll have Watford fans, Watford subscribers in the comments saying, come on, track the run, help your centre-halves out here, especially when you've got Kuchka, Sissoko, Tufan all in terms of, you know, defensive-minded central midfielders, and no one's picking up Souček. Disappointing goal, and here comes the second. Antonio does well. We know Antonio's game. He's a powerful runner in behind. Benrahma gets nice and narrow in that inside left position. The blocking players get drawn to the goal. Benrahma holds his run, and you can see sliding, falling, hits it first time into the net. Quick turnaround, bang, bang, and Watford are down 2-1 at half-time. Into the second half, and you want the comeback to come from Watford. They didn't end the first half terribly, and they didn't start the second half terribly either, according to the graph I'm looking at right now. However, West Ham just vitally get that third goal. It's poor from backman. And Bowen is just a key player in this game. You can see Kuchka sort of saying, with his arms, with his body language, look, come out and deal with that. Bowen is quick, but I think the problem when the VAR are checking this one is that the movement from backman, who looks like his favourite to just dive on that ball, is kind of towards Bowen, and Bowen makes something of it. And if he just slides, shields, grabs the ball, he's all right, backman, but he kind of goes in to Bowen. So I can understand why it's given. And again, we're saying, look, track the runner for the first goal and, yeah, don't bash into the nippy forward for the third one. So, yeah, there you go. Mark Noble, I think his last penalty involvement for West Ham was coming on and missing that one against Manchester United, wasn't it? He sticks this one in the corner, sends backman the wrong way. That West Ham crowd behind the goal ready to erupt there. 3-1, and against the David Moyes team, who are probably doing what Claudio Ranieri wants to do in terms of being solid and counter-attacking. Ranieri's never really been one to, keep the ball and dominate through possession. It's always been, quick transitions and things of that nature. And West Ham are a very good example of how to do that in Premier League terms. It goes from bad to worse. In stoppage time, Vlasic is going to make it 4-1, and it's Bowen. Again, it's so poor from Stirling, who I like very much, but he kind of stands up, Bowen, as he goes into the box. He's holding his arms behind his back as if to say, I'm not going to concede a penalty. And he just goes past him so easily, Bowen. I guess that's the thing. Your balance isn't good when you're holding your arms behind your back. You're not ready to move. And I know Bowen's quick, but poor from Stirling again. And Bowen knocks it back. And look, it's an open goal for Nikola Vlasic, and he sticks it in to the back of the net. 4-1, and West Ham have done the business here. At Watford, and it's very, very David Moyes, isn't it? Look, 14 shots to 13 in Watford's favour. 6-5 on target in West Ham's favour, 5 corners to 4. Then look at the big chance count, 5-1. Look at the XG. Watford's is decent, 1.29. However, they've conceded 2.7. And David Moyes has built this West Ham side that are just very decisive. They sit in, they're tough, but when they do go, they do make big chances with the pace of Bowen, the power of Antonio, the guile of Ben Rama. And they hadn't been on a good run, had they? It was defeat against Southampton. Before that, against Arsenal. They'd lost in Europe as well and in the EFL Cup. So it'd been 4 defeats in a row, and they've got back to winning ways, unfortunately, with my dearly departed hat on, at the expense of Watford. We'll look at the table at the end of the show. It's good to get Watford back playing, but we need to get them back winning. And low tide is a term I'm going to use a lot between now and the end of the season. It feels like someone is going to get that 17th spot without scoring very, very many points. We're looking at 35 on average being a good number, and no one's. I think I heard in the Norwich Palace commentary, no one survived with 34. Maybe that changes this season, but Watford are going to want to be the ones at the moment, and we'll look at it in proper terms when we look at the table, but it's snail racing down the bottom there, and Watford are playing their part in that with the 9 defeats in 11. Defensively, not great. Let me know what you think, Watford fans. Incomings in January, what would you like to see? Certainly what you wouldn't like to see is more 4-1 home defeats. Get your comments in on that one. Watford 1, West Ham 4. Oof. Yeah, and if you think that was depressing to talk about, it's not very fun talking about Norwich at the moment. Crystal Palace 3, Norwich 0 today. And look, I wrote that piece for Football 365 in response to Norwich friends of mine in my social media having this existential crisis about the model and the future and the big picture. And maybe Norwich fans are just going to be saying, look, today they didn't have any players and they went under 3-0 at Crystal Palace. And Dean Smith in his post-match was sort of very pointedly saying, if that's the spectacle the Premier League want, then so be it. Norwich are playing on. They have played 19 games. I think they only lost 1 game, didn't they, in terms of postponements. But the points are not coming. The goals are not coming. The run is very bad. I think that's 5 straight defeats now. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. And sorry, Norwich fans, because I know you get fed up of me saying this, but I didn't want the 8 points in 4 games to be a big bump in the points per game. It couldn't have been a bigger bump because they just haven't scored any points, 0, since those 8. And again, I'm going to tack on the 2 draws. That's 2 points in 7 games now. It's not good. And yeah, we can talk about snail racing, but you've got to win some games and score some points to even win a snail race. And Norwich just nowhere near at the moment. There's the team they had to put out. So look, Far be it for me to be a Norwich apologist, but Gunn in goal, Krill would be the first choice. Byram at right back, Aarons would be the first choice. Sorensen is a midfielder playing centre-back. Hanley would be the first choice. Okay, Gibson is probably first choice left centre-back and he's the captain. Janulis at left-back, I don't know. Is Williams the first choice? I don't know what's happening at left-back there. Certainly a lot of ire put Williams' way after his performance against Saka. Again, I do not like Gilmour and McLean as a double pivot. People think I've got a thing about Gilmour, but he's just not the guy in a double pivot in the Premier League in a team struggling in the relegation zone. Is he? Just defensively, he's just not there. And maybe, look, they've got Lees Melu in there. Maybe it was a 3 and not a 4-2-3-1 and I'm being unfair. But they really, really missed Norman. And I know people laughed at Tete, but for the longest time he was at Norwich. I say people laughed. In the end, he'd be brought in, at the back end of his career, wouldn't he? But he was a guy who, that sort of player, good physical, strong player who's very well defensively minded, is really what they need. Norman's the guy, he's not there. Placheta and Scholes wide. So look, there's no Cantwell, there's no Rupp, there is no Rasica. I think I've remembered all of the sort of forward wide players. Sargent's been left out on the bench. Dowell was tried the other day. And up top, Ida starts. There's no Pookie either. So, look, however bad Norwich are, however unviable their model is and what people are saying at the moment, they didn't have any players today, did they? And it was a difficult one for what are we saying? Gibson and McLean, really. The two sort of first choice guys. Maybe Janulis, who knows? Trying to keep things going whilst nobody else is around. Frankly, for Palace, yes, they had problems of their own, but Gaeta, Mitchell, Gay, Anderson, Ward, Slip, Koyate, Hughes, Edouard, Mateta and Ayew. And that's the difference between a squad that's been in the Premier League or a club that's been in the Premier League for a while and a club that's bouncing at the moment like Norwich are, because yes, Zaha and Gallagher are Palace's two best players. They're not in. But still some strength. And then you look on the bench at the likes of maybe a Tompkins, Milivojevic, Benteke, experienced players that have cost a lot of money. But that's the world we live in. And unfortunately for Norwich, the world they live in at the moment is one that's defeat after defeat, isn't it? And here come the goals. And this so smacks of a team that's going to get relegated, doesn't it? It really, really does. A team that's bereft of confidence, that makes individual mistakes. I watched the start of this game. Norwich started well. The territory was up. They were up and pressing. And look, I saw this watching my team. The first sense of danger, and it's collapsed goal, isn't it? And McLean just gets diddled by Hughes, doesn't he? McLean just sort of dives in. There's plenty back in the box. And Hughes was very honest in his interview after the game. He said in Football Today, that's a penalty, as if to say, look, I won it, didn't I? Turns inside. McLean's got his standing foot there and Hughes just goes over it. And you just can't be caught in those areas. And Norwich are in a point at the moment where whenever that happens, they just concede a goal, don't they? And here comes Edouard. Gunn is trying his best Tim Krul impression. It probably would have been retaken if he saved it because he looked like he was off his line anyway. But Edouard sticks it in the corner, and just a dreadful way to start the game, having been quite up and at him and just, you've got this idea of throwing a few punches and bop, first one, down you go, 1-0. And we talked about the collapse from Norwich at the end of the game against Arsenal, the collapse at the end of the first half, not the end of the second half. In this one, sorry, a little bit blurry. It is Jean-Philippe Mateta. Dean Smith, interestingly, called out Janulis directly on this one, said he should have blocked the shot. Read into that what you will. What I'd like to focus on is the fact that Norwich were on the attack after this, and Gilmour passes Edouard on to Byram. Maybe it should have gone with him, I don't know. Maybe I'm being unfair and picking on Gilmour. There, just tracked the guy the whole way. It looked like a reasonable pass on, but just the ball slid down the side. And it's just one of those where when you're in this moment, you know, kind of scuffs it as well and finds the far corner. No, the Michael Brown, who was a very good finisher from midfield, was on Amazon, so I'll take his word from it. He says it's a good finish, a difficult finish, but it just trickles in the corner. Very frustratingly for Norwich fans, and even more so. 3-0 here. Schlupp finishes this one off. It's another assist for Edouard. I don't know whether it goes through Gunn or past him on the far post, but it looks like a difficult angle to score from. But yes, El Collapso once again. Game done, really, by half-time. There's no goals in the second half. Do you know what I'm going to do? Let me just read you the second half stats. And yeah, it's still not great for Norwich. No big chances created. 1 shot on target. Palace still had another 10 shots in the second half. So, yeah, maybe just write the whole thing off. I'm looking for a positive for Norwich. I can't really find one to be blindly honest with this one. So let's just go straight to the numbers. Apologies, Norwich fans. Yeah, Palace 19 shots to 12, 8 corners apiece, 2 big chances to 0. Look at the XG, 2.55, 0.82. Norwich not creating a great deal again. I think you need to put the stats to the side and you need to look at how it happens. And at the moment, it feels very much like confidence and a team collapsing. And the only thing left for me to see is when you see teams that are really going through it, the keeper starts going and starting making individual mistakes. But the signs are very, very ominous. Losing streak, games and deficits just getting away from Norwich at the moment. Yeah, we can sit here and argue they didn't have any players today. And look, are they better with Pookie? Yes. Rasica, probably. Norman, definitely yes. Aaron's definitely yes. Krul, most probably. Hanley, yes. So look, we can argue that. But at the moment, it's a very, very slippery slope towards relegation for the Canaries. I'll deal with that properly when we look at the table in just a second. So I'm not sure you will have Norwich subscribers, but if you do, get your comments in on the game, and it might just be one. Look, just tick that one, cross that one really off and move on. A not good day at the office for Norwich. Crystal Palace 3. Norwich 0. So, lots of talk now about snail racing and low tides. And the reason I'm saying that is just because the totals are looking so low. I always go on about a point per game, but it's just not going to be that number this season, isn't it? Looking at where we are now, and we are halfway now for Norwich and for Newcastle. And look, they are a mile off a point per game, aren't they? Norwich 10 from 19, Newcastle 11 from 19, Watford 13 from 17. Look at Everton down there, and Leeds are below it, and I still expect Leeds to trend up at some point. They might not even need to, for God's sakes. And they're 5th from bottom in 16th place. They're making out that bottom 5. But who's going to be the one that takes advantage of just a garbage low tide at the bottom of the table? Maybe you can flip it the other way, and Gary Neville keeps saying on Sky it's a really strong lead. Maybe that's the case. Maybe they're whipping boys. Maybe they're not as bad as we think down the bottom, and it's just the upper teams in the top half, particularly the top 3, are just going to take maximum points off all of that bottom 5 and probably most of the bottom half as we go through the season. And that's the saving grace for Watford and Norwich. You know, Watford are not near a point per game. I mean, if they win the next game, they'd be 16 from 18. They're 2 games away from a point per game and 2 wins. And history says that's unlikely at the moment. And Norwich, if Norwich had won today, they'd have been level on points with Watford. So that is the only saving grace. The only problem I've got in terms of my dearly departed teams, and Norwich and Watford particularly, is you can make a far more convincing argument for Newcastle signing some players and attacking and scoring goals under Eddie Howe in the second half of the season, and that converted to points. And Burnley just finding their way, and Burnley have only played 15 games. And look, if they win the next 2, they're at a point per game, so they're a way off it as well. But Burnley have got history of getting out of this. So, look, worrying times down the bottom there. Get your comments in, either a low tide or the capacity of Norwich or Watford, particularly who we're focusing on today, to win a snail race, which is frankly what it is. There's the next load of fixtures. Norwich visit Leicester in a kind of Martin O'Neill type derby, a James Maddison type derby as well. Look, it's New Year's Day. I hate to say it, Norwich fans, just at the moment, you just don't see Norwich scoring any goals, scoring any points. They need, and I don't know, do Pookie and Aarons have to isolate now for 10 days and miss that game as well? Does not bode well at all. They need some of those key players back as a bare minimum, else it's just a non-starter against a team like Leicester who've been in and around the top 6. Watford play Tottenham. Oh God. Then Conte, who's at it, and Son Heung-min and Kane scoring, and I don't like that a lot. Brentford, we'll leave Brentford because they've still got to play Man City tomorrow, so we'll deal with Brentford in a separate video. So there'll be more to say on that. Brentford playing Villa. Villa obviously cancelled. They were due to play Leeds, so that's a dearly departed double. Try and do a bit of focus on that in a video to come. And Leeds will play Burnley. Will we finally get Burnley on the pitch? Will we finally get Leeds on the pitch? Fingers crossed. There we go. There's our dearly departed show. Thank you ever so much to Simon, who's our fan sponsor. Bit of a depressing one. Get your comments in. Watford have gone under by 4-1. Norwich by 3-0. Both sides losing by 3 goals. We're talking snail racing. We're talking low tides, and we're very, very hopeful because for both of those sides, it's not going well at the moment. I think I already said thank you again to Simon, who is our fan sponsor. Get involved via the comments. And we'll see you again soon. Wouldn't it be lovely to talk about Brentford beating Man City or something of that nature? But yeah, we're in a bit of a dearly departed lull. So, look, it'll come back, won't it? Thank you, everybody, for watching. Over and out. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.